Welcome to the Unwritten Podcast. I could not be more excited that you have joined us. We have real conversations about faith and life and all the above and how that ends with Jesus in our story, or starts with Jesus and how he took us all the way through. My name is Gwen. I am the host. And today I could not be more excited for who I have on the podcast with me. This is my sister Gracie, and we are going to be diving into how our plans are not always it. So, Gracie, thank you for being on the Unwritten Podcast.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about our conversation today.
All right. I'm excited about our conversation today. Gracie, can you just give us a little glimpse into your life? Where do you live?
Sure.
What do you do? Are you married, single, any of that jazz?
Yes. So I just recently got married about 6 months ago, and I moved to West Virginia. And I am working in a veterinary hospital in Virginia. So my life is pretty busy, but I do enjoy it.
You know, listen, if you get a pet, someone in your family needs to be a vet tech, a vet or something, because it is very helpful. I have learned it's been very helpful to have Gracie. I have a little Aussie Doodle, and Gracie has been very good at helping me not worry so much. Well, I don't want to take too much time just talking about random things. Did you mention you're married to Nicholas?
I did.
Nick is
6 months ago?
Yes, they got married in August, and it was a beautiful wedding. We had a lot of fun. That's the beauty of having lots of siblings. You get to experience lots of weddings. And so this is my second wedding of my siblings. My sister behind the camera. We haven't mentioned her. There's 3 girls, 1 boy, Grace and I here. Brielle's behind the camera, and then we have our brother Bradley. He's the oldest. So that gives you a short thing. Gracie, I just want to take you into your life. Let's start maybe even at the beginning, when you're a little kid, high school, all of it. When you plan something, what was it like when your plans didn't go as maybe you wanted them to go?
Right. So I am very much so a long-term planner. And when I mean long-term, I mean way in the future. I mean, from as early as I can remember, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew when it was going to happen. I knew when I wanted to get married and have kids. And my life was planned out to the T. And if that was questioned, or if it wasn't quite going as the way I thought it should go, it was not okay. Definitely not okay.
Yeah, made you maybe feel a little bit like lost.
Definitely, like freaking out. I don't know what to do. My plans are not going as I had planned them to, so my life's falling apart.
My life is a lie. My life is a lie.
It's not working out.
Yep, me on the other hand, I very much so fly by the seat of my pants. Not good with plans. There's not been very many things in my life that I've been committed to for a long time. It always changes. So it's very interesting to talk to you. And then Brielle even struggles with the same thing of when she has a plan and that's her plan. And then I question that, not in a evil way, but like, are you sure this is what you want to do for the rest of your life? It's like, you even bringing that up brings on like the depths of despair, because now I have to rethink so many blocks in my life. So I want to dive into that a little bit. And we're going to start with your career, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
You went in high school. Did you always want to work with animals, or did you have another idea?
In high school, yes. I would say as a little kid, I think the earliest I remember, you wanted to be an artist. So me, little Gracie, was like, I want to be an artist too. But then I realized very quickly I could not draw. And so the Lord did not grant me with that gift. And very quickly I shifted my focus to animals. And I don't even remember like my first thought of like, oh, I want to be a veterinarian, like I want to be a doctor. But I was very young, because I don't really remember, other than my little artist idea, ever wanting to do anything else. Through high school, that was all the classes I took. I took some like college courses in high school just for like the goal and purpose of I want to go to vet school, and that's all I want to do. Single track.
Yeah.
Definitely single track minded.
Did anyone ever bring up to you that maybe being a vet might not be what you want to do? Like, are you sure this is the route you want to take?
Oh, yeah. I had a lot of people who, when they would ask, what do you want to do with your life? And I'd be like, I want to be a veterinarian. They would say like, whoa, that's a lot of school. Are you sure you want to do that? That's a lot of money. Are you sure you want to do that? And that always made me almost even more stubborn. Like, I'm going to prove to you that I can do it. Like, you don't believe in me. Dad was actually really awesome. He was like, well, if this is what you want to do, he walked me through, like, you need to figure out what college you're going to, what degree you're going to take. And he actually helped me start taking college courses in high school to help get me, like, a little bit ahead. And he like, really helped me rationally think it out. But I did get a lot of people telling me, like, are you sure that's what you want to do? That's kind of a crazy idea. And yeah, that was a little bit made me stubborn, kind of.
Yeah, and we just want to say there is no hate to any vets out there. I think not at all.
I have the utmost respect for the doctors I work with. The schooling that they go through, the training, the dedication they have. I admire it so much.
Yeah.
And so much respect for that. Definitely.
Yeah. So you wanted to be a vet. Did you, in that time, was one of the things people were bringing up things about, like, being a stay-at-home mom, or what would, if you were married, how would that, as you being the woman in the, like, how would that all work? Was that one of the arguments, or is that something you wanted? Did you want to be a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, I think, actually, not very many people knew exactly what I wanted other than just the veterinarian track. In my mind, I did, like, I've always wanted to have kids and I want to have a family. And I know that that's not a track for everyone. A lot of people, it's really important to them to get a career. But there was a time for me where it was equally as important to get a career and equally important to get married and have kids. And for a while, I was really just wanting both of those tracks to really, really work out. But for me personally, that's a very difficult thing to reconcile when you want to get married young and have kids younger. And vet school is very long and intensive. So yeah, in my own mind, that was definitely something that there was a little bit of tension, but it was stressful to think about, like, not my plan.
Changing
like,
your plan.
Exactly, my plan. Like, it was stressful to think of my plan changing, so I just pushed it to the back burner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to really think about it. God will work it out when he works it out, or it'll all work out, you know? My plan can stay the same. Nothing has to change.
Right, because there's comfort in having a plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the moment that changes. So, you want to be a vet. You graduate from high school. You start the vet route. You go to college. And there happens to be a guy pursuing you. And I think that I'm throwing this in there now because it's important to the change of plans here. So insert this wonderful gentleman into your life, and no, not the right time.
Yeah.
He is not for you. So why? Tell us a little bit about why Nick was not for you. Yeah, why no?
Why no?
At that point, why was it a no?
Okay, well, to know why it's a no, you have to know that we went to high school together.
They did.
And Nick,
they were not high school sweethearts.
We were not high school
He would have loved that, though.
We were not. But I solely just viewed him as, like, a friend, but way too introverted for me. I thought, I need someone a little more extroverted because while I can be extroverted, that side of me can come out. I'm mostly introverted.
Right.
So that was the biggest thing, is like, he's too introverted for me. And I want a guy to pursue me. You know, I don't want to be the pursuer per se. It's just not my personality. So that was probably, like, the main reason why no, is just knowing him from high school, knowing the high school Nick, and being like, oh, he's not for me if he's the same high school Nick, you know.
Yeah, and just on the other side of it, I thought Nick was a great match for Gracie because he was so kind and patient and all of the above. If Nick is watching this, please don't let the size of your head get any bigger than it already is. No, I'm teasing. But you you had this idea also of like, I have to go to vet school to allow someone into my life who Nick wasn't wanting to just, not that he was wanting to get married that day, but like wait till you get out of vet school. And then by the time you get out of vet school, then like, what does life look like? And so he wasn't, I don't know if you guys talked about it or.
We actually didn't really talk about it until after we started dating. If you want to fast forward, we can fast forward.
Yeah, no, okay. So you didn't talk about it. He didn't say anything about your track in life. Okay,
No.
see, I thought
he knew about it.
Okay.
Sort of. Like, he knew that that's the track I was going for. He didn't know just how set in my plans I was. But he definitely knew that I was on track to be a vet. We just didn't really talk much. So
okay.
Really
so prior to you dating, was Nick was an introvert, so that was one of the reasons why you didn't want to be with him. Was one of the reasons too you just have a long road ahead of schooling and you didn't want a distraction, or solely was I'm just not interested in him?
I would say that my main reason was just that I didn't feel that we were super compatible in our personalities. I wouldn't say that like my career plans had anything to do with that, because I definitely wanted to get married. I definitely wanted kids. So I wasn't by any means like discouraging a relationship with someone.
Just him.
It was poor Nick. Just I didn't feel like we were like super compatible at that time.
Okay. So during this whole time, eventually, your thoughts towards Nick slowly start changing, and someday maybe we can go into your whole story with Nick, but I don't want to focus too much on you getting to liking Nick, but eventually God really
But that's another plan change.
Yes, it really
he
was.
He wasn't in the plans, and plans changed.
Yeah, he wasn't in the plans. So when you decided that, okay, I think I can date Nick, or maybe I like Nick, was that scary a little bit because it was or was it like more of a natural, like I just slowly started to like him?
I would say there are parts of it that were scary in a sense that like I don't take being in a relationship lightly.
Yeah.
So for me, like I knew I had to be intentional, and also that opens up another level of like vulnerability.
Yeah.
And he needs to know my plans. He needs to know where I'm at.
Yeah.
What I want to do, what my goals are. So that part is a little bit scary, because you're never sure if maybe they won't be supportive of that, or maybe they'll try to change your mind. And for someone, a long-term planner, someone trying to change your mind can be scary. I'm not going to make a blanket
typically
statement,
it, and maybe I'm wrong telling this, it makes you drive your hooks in differently. It's when someone is trying to be like, you need to change, or whatever. You're gonna be like, excuse me, this is my, stance. So
it can be, for sure.
Yeah. So you start dating Nick, which already your plans in dating Nick, that starts just changing the, trajectory of your future. Yes. So you start dating, the summer of 2023. 2023.
23.
Yes, I think so.
Q3. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, June of 2023.
Yeah, so you start dating summer.
That's really bad.
Summer 20. Hey, at this point, the only thing that's important is you remember what day you got married on.
Yes.
And that you are married. That's those are the important parts. But so you start dating June of 2023. Very quickly, I would say, other things, plans are changing. And I want to just take a moment and say, it is, Gracie, what we're about to go into wasn't because of Nick. Gracie didn't change herself or go into someone she's not for Nick. It was just the God slowly working in Gracie's life to help her figure out what she actually wanted, and that changing your plans was okay.
Yeah. And I think also, too, to preface, my story isn't your story.
100%.
My story isn't anyone else's story. And
Yep.
my plans changing was God for me. But that doesn't mean that every woman out there, like, God's calling them to do exactly what Gracie did.
Yeah.
But he definitely was for me, and it became, like, more clear over time that he was definitely leading me to change my plans.
Yeah. Yeah. So you start dating June 2023. At what point did you start feeling maybe vet school isn't for me?
Pretty soon after I started dating Nick, which sounds funny because you would think, oh, you changed because of him. But he actually didn't have much negative to say. He brought up maybe financial concerns, like which I think is very valid.
Vet
Like,
school's
how
expensive.
are we going to afford this
Yes.
if we were to end up together? Like, being full transparency. How could we manage that kind of debt? But other than that, he was pretty supportive. But I don't know. I just began to feel like, started questioning, just little thoughts like, am I sure that I really want 8 more years or 7 more years of education? And, you know, am I really as committed? Because to get into vet school, it's so competitive. You have to be all in. You really do. So it started out just questioning, like, am I really all in for this? Or could I maybe actually do something else that still brought me fulfillment, still was my passion, but wasn't quite the same track?
Yeah. Well, and that's that's hard when you start to realize, like, start processing through, am I actually, like, passionate about something? Do I actually, like, for a long time I thought this is something I'm so stoked about.
Yeah.
And now, okay, am I as stoked about it? And I think that when you start dating someone, you start to realize, okay, if we do get married, there's 2 people in this relationship.
Right.
It's not just me. And when I do get married to someone, I do want to have kids. Not right away, but I do want to invite that in. And by the time that comes in, or by the time I'm done with vet school, would I be ready for like, just the transition of, like, logistically, I need to be all in. And so kind of shifting your priorities of what that looks like.
Yeah.
As scary as that can be. That summer you went to college in August. You didn't, like, change your plans that quick. So you were still headed by August the vet route. You had doubts.
Right.
But changing plans is big. You don't know what you're going to do. So
Right. So I was still, like, doing my biology degree. I had enrolled in my classes for the next semester. I'd even, like, researched my teachers and picked the ones I wanted. And being the long-term planner I was, even though I was seriously questioning, the idea of going outside of those plans was so incredibly scary for me. I didn't know how to do it. I actually felt trapped by my own plans, like captive almost.
And that's
by
such a
the
weird
own
thought.
plans that I
You
myself made
and that you're
for me.
committed to.
In a sense, though, if I had told, like, all of our family, I told all of my friends, I told pretty much everyone who had asked me, I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. I'm going to be able to help our family pets. And
to be honest, I was looking forward to
yes,
that. Free
I
vet
apologize.
care? Not free, of course, I would pay. But seriously, like, that would be...
Yeah, it was a huge thing. And I felt almost like I would be letting the family down.
Right.
Even though none of the family put that pressure on me. I put that pressure on myself, but it felt very real.
Do you think that maybe you felt like you'd let you down too?
Definitely.
Like future you
Definitely.
down?
Future me might regret it. You know, what if I gave up? Nobody wants to be labeled a quitter. Even though it's okay to change your mind. For someone like me who gets anxious about plans, about even just in everyday life, like, it's a big deal to change your mind.
So the fear of, like, letting yourself down and letting other people down and not having an explanation.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm leaving this to head to this. You don't even know what you're heading into.
I didn't have a future idea.
So then you really are a failure.
Step.
In your head. No. Not really, but in your head.
But that's how it feels. It feels like you failed, even though my life was just beginning, you know. I'm still young, like
19.
At that point, I'd been 19 when I was.
You have so much of your life left out. Yeah. So, at what point did your doubting turn into a reality of you stepping away?
Let me preface this a little bit.
Go ahead.
By the previous semester, I was a straight A student through high school, and I prided myself in the fact that I had taken some college courses and I had done very well in them. And I was humbled when I got to college. Yeah. And I was great in most of my courses, but the courses that really mattered, there were two, the science-based ones. Those are the ones I struggled in. And it was very humbling and almost like a slap in the face. Yeah. You're talking about a girl who'd never failed a test in her life is struggling on more than one test. And
so now you're in an identity crisis of who am I?
Huge identity crisis. Like, all I had was Gracie, the future veterinarian, the academic.
Who was really good at school.
Right. Is no longer great at school.
Yeah.
And I struggled with having the desire to put in the effort needed and required for those intensive courses. And that's what really started my questioning even further, is like, how much do I really want this? Mm-hmm. If I really want this, I will put in the effort. Yeah. And if I don't want it that much, I'm not going to do well enough to just get by. To get into vet school, you have to be committed. You have to be all in, like we talked about. Mm-hmm. So coming into the next semester then, when I started my next courses, I just started to realize, wow, this is going to be exhausting. This is going to be 3 more years of this, and then 4 more years of more school, doctorate school, and
I'm
then
gonna have no life.
Residency, or that kind of thing. I started realizing this is not a small decision. Yeah, I can't go into this lightly, and I need to decide now whether I'm gonna throw all I am into this, or if I'm not committed, now is the time to back out now. Mm-hmm. Than to get 4 years in, 5 years in, and be miserable and wish I had been brave enough to change my mind. That sounds silly, but brave enough to change my own plans.
Yeah. What was it like, your relationship with God during this time? Like, did you disconnect from him? You know, some people, when they go through a time when their life plans change, or they feel like they should change, they're like, well, I'm going to move away from the thing that maybe is kind of leading me. Or was it, no, I'm going to team up with God and I'm going to start praying a lot because I'm not sure where my life is heading, and now I'm dating someone and I care about him, but then what does my identity look like as Gracie? Right. I don't want to just be Gracie who's dating Nick. Like, really, who is that? You know, like, but I want to be somebody, and I want to be proud of me. So what was your relationship with God during that?
Right. I think somewhere in the middle of those two options you gave me, I think it really morphed into almost all my conversations with God were, Lord, show me what to do. Please, please. Help me know what to do. Like, I have no idea. I'm confused. Yeah. Help me do better in school so that I can see that this is the path you want me down. If this, my prayers sometimes turned into, Lord, if you help me get an A on this test, I will know this. And it sounds silly, but I will know. I will know that this is my plan. Yeah. Help me get a really good score on this quiz, or make it through my lab. Show me. Give me like a clear sign, because it feels so like I'm on my own and I just have to make this decision. Yeah. And it's funny to think back now that there were plenty of signs. One of them just being that I didn't have the desire to put in the work that was necessary for something like that. That was God answering me. Yeah. He was showing me that I had other values that are important, that were more than
But
the
up until,
school.
and I want to point out just again, like up until that point, you had been very driven. And so
Oh,
for you
yes.
to not feel driven
Right.
was like,
Right.
who am I?
That's a very good point. Yeah. I was very driven. So when I started not feeling driven, that was scary.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the Gracie I knew.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like an unauthentic version of Gracie.
No.
It was me in that
It's
moment.
a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So you kind of worked trying to figure out with God. And I believe that God was giving you more signs than you were. I believe also God was taking you through this journey of like, you don't need a degree or you don't need studies to prove that you have worth or that Gracie is somebody outside. And I think that your worth was caught up all into, I'm a vet. I'm going to be a vet. I love animals. I'm going to be really successful with animals. Right. And now I don't have that. Now we're leading into you choosing not to have that path of like, okay, so now I'm kind of left here skeleton and I don't feel like I'm anybody.
Yeah. It's very, very vulnerable state to be in, to know you don't want to do what you're doing, but not know where you would go. And so you feel like you can't go anywhere because you need somewhere to go.
Yeah.
So you just stay where you are.
So at that point, what did you decide? What time and year was it? September?
It was September. I came home at the end of September. Actually, everything happened really quick. I think
within a week, I remember there was a week of like intensive thought, and then it was like, I made my decision.
It was quick. It was like once I decided Gracie is done with this.
You're not going to waste your time anymore.
I did not waste my time. I think my aunt who lives in the area, she didn't know I was leaving until like a few days before I left. If that. My roommate, she didn't know until a few days before I left because I wasn't sure. Dad got me a plane ticket for I think a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I dropped out on that Sunday or Monday.
I want to say you dropped out on a Sunday because I remember we got an email from the college saying you had like 72 hours to move out of my room. Mm-hmm. Which was so shocking. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so Dad bought me a plane ticket for Wednesday.
Don't drop out of college without being prepared
to
actually leave. They're not going to let you stay there. So you drop out, you come home, you decide to pursue something more in vet assistant, vet tech.
Yes.
And pursue that.
To throw this out there, because Gracie is still a long-term planner, even though she changed her plans, she likes to have a plan.
Yeah.
When I dropped out, I had already realized that I still wanted to do something in the vet field.
Right.
And I had found a veterinary technician
You already
course
had a plan
online. I definitely had a plan.
Oh, 100%.
God didn't completely abandon me with no plan.
He didn't completely say, I'm going to really make you
Gracie
confused.
Needed a plan. But yeah, all that happened in a week. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I enrolled in classes, like my online classes, like right when I got home.
Yeah. And then you lived here.
I did.
And you and Nick did long distance.
We were long distance.
And just speed like forward. You got married a year and a half later, I think. And he lived 2 hours away for like part of your relationship. So y'all would visit each other and stuff. But in all of this, and I hope this story was somewhat understanding and on a timeline, but I just want to recap that what I have learned from particularly what you have said tonight is sometimes when we have a plan and we're not listening, even though we do feel a little lonely or a little bit like lost because we know that this plan needs to change. Once it does change, it's not like God leaves you high and dry out there and is like, all right, I'm going to give you actually no plan and you're just going to. No, if you seek him first and you do your best to find the next right steps, God's going to help you find those next right steps. It might not be what you imagined when you first stepped foot into college or when you were in high school, but God is going to take you on this slow journey of, there's so much more to her story with Nick on how even they started dating and how Gracie's plans changed with that. But I think a lot of it was, okay, there was so much changing in your life within that 6 month time that it was scary, right?
Yeah.
And so what would you say to someone who has a plan, but maybe they feel like, wow, this plan is not how do they go forward without that fear and that loneliness?
I think one thing that was helpful is to know that it's okay to be afraid of that first step outside of your plans, because that's so normal.
Yeah.
Inside your plans, your dreams is safety. Your brain thinks it's safety.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that's not meant for you and ultimately, isn't safety.
Yeah.
Don't be hard on yourself for being fearful.
Yeah.
Secondly, know that you're never truly stuck as much as you think you are.
Yeah.
One thing that was very helpful to me was just repeating Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. A very common.
Trust in the Lord.
Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. That was helpful for me. Like, okay, even though I have no idea how I'm going to make that first step towards something different, Gracie doesn't have to figure out what it is on her own. I can lean on God's understanding and know that if I take that first step, he's going to help me take the next step and the next step. And he'll help me take the first step too.
Which I think is so big for someone who's a planner, to give God all your plans, to give him all your thoughts, give him all your desires. Mm-hmm. You're giving that up of what Gracie thinks that her life should be and saying, God, you actually know better. And when if I were to look back on my entire life, I would 100% choose the path that you have given me. Mm-hmm. But since I can't look back on my entire life right now and I'm just in this moment, will you show me what the next right thing is?
Exactly. You don't have to know what 5 years, 10 years looks like. You just have to choose the next step forward. And it's just keeping your feet moving forward. Mom and Dad always told me it's okay to change your mind, but keep moving forward. Don't get stagnant. Don't
get so discouraged that you've lost one thing that you can't go into another thing. Yeah.
And you might find something even more rewarding than you ever thought of. I look back now and working with the doctors that I work with now, I realize, wow, that would have been so stressful. Yeah. I don't know that I would have been cut out for something like that.
And you're very content. You were telling me today in the car ride, you were so content in what you were doing.
I do not want the responsibility that a doctor really has to bear.
Yeah.
I enjoy being a helping hand to those doctors. I am more than satisfied.
Which is so interesting how God works that way. He's like, I know that what Gracie really will be happy with. I know what the joys, and you and Nick are creating this wonderful life together and eventually want to have kids and eventually, and you're even thinking, you and Nick are already planning things in the future that is not what Gracie would have planned in college.
Never would have thought that I would be married a year and a half later.
Right. But had you gone your way, you wouldn't even have the opportunity for the things that we were talking about today, of these plans you and Nick are providing. You wouldn't even have had that because you would have had to work as a vet to pay off all the debt, and you would have had to do, but God is so good that way because he's like, no, I actually know what will make you content and happy.
Well, I think what's funny too is I look back now and I realize I would have never fully made it through vet school. I don't know if it would have been the schooling that would have done me in, or I would have realized, I know now looking back, I would have realized at some point Gracie would have been so miserable. She would have changed. It just, God was good and helped it happen sooner rather than later. But had I been so stubborn and set in what I thought was I needed to do, and I wasn't listening to the voice of God, it would have led me down a much more stressful path than the momentary stress of changing my plans sooner.
Yeah, and I just want to the viewer, to everyone, to say that we're saying here changing your plans is scary, but why is it scary when God is the one leading? It's scary because you're not in control, and it's totally a control thing. And I think that even if you're not a planner, if you're like me, I like to have control. I like to make all these spontaneous plans. Like, we all go through this battle of control. And when you do genuinely trust in God and you let all of your desires and thoughts for yourself, and you say, God, I know that you know what will make me happiest.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look back and you're like, thank you.
Thank the Lord.
Yes.
Thank you for not letting me make that mistake. And I think also, too, it's important to note, while I am very happy doing what I'm doing now, God has brought me to the place where I know that maybe someday Gracie might do something different. I might do something a little different than what I'm doing now. Maybe sometime down the line, you'll find me working in a different field. But the difference between me now and me then is I'm okay with that being a possibility. I'm okay with that not knowing what 15 years down the road looks like to a T. I'm okay with being like, God's got it.
And that's the thing where it doesn't attack your identity of Gracie is no one with this.
Right.
No, actually, I know who I am. And I would actually be content if the Lord even took that away. As much as you love it right now, you'd be 100% okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a crazy thing from the Gracie that I grew up with, who had a plan. And I was like, why do you have a plan? Don't have a plan. And if ever I brought up a change in that plan, how dare you?
How could you question me?
Like
you don't believe in me.
And you're stressing me out. Stop. You're stressing me out.
That was probably something I even said to you is you're stressing me out.
Just,
stop it.
Yeah. You wanted to say shut up, but you couldn't say that because we weren't allowed to.
We're allowed to say that.
Yeah. But my point is, and to the viewer, I think the point of this podcast is to say, genuinely, that verse, we didn't even have it planned, but trusting the Lord with all your plans. When you are a planner, when you are someone who likes to have control.
And when you're someone who's spontaneous.
Someone who likes to have control. I like to have control. And you give that to God. Through Gracie's story, I see that God had something so much better. And like the contentness and the happiness in her heart that and peace she gets to feel now wouldn't have, not that God wouldn't have given her peace in that place of life, but she was able to get there sooner. And so if you are going through something where you're like, I'm not sure what the next right step is, I'm not sure what to do, or you're saying, here's my plan, but you're in the back of your mind, you're saying, I'm messing up. I would say pause. Take a deep breath and write out your priorities. Pause. What is that in the back of your head that's saying, maybe you shouldn't? And really tap into that. I promise you that the next right step sometimes isn't this huge step. This huge step of, I'm going to go, now I'm not going to go to vet school. I'm going to go, I know that God is calling me to this next big thing. And I'm going to, sometimes it's pulling away from something that you thought you wanted so bad. And letting God say, hey, I know you love animals. Here's another field in the same thing. Yeah. So steps don't always have to be big and incredible and for everyone to see. They can be small steps that for you in 25 steps from now are going to look back and say,
that first step was huge.
Yeah.
But it was small. I mean, touching on that, for the viewer to know, my very first step was allowing my brain to think outside my plans. That was my first step was very internal. It was like,
just let myself imagine.
Let yourself think what would happen?
Yeah.
What if? And then actually telling someone that I was questioning at that time, telling my boyfriend at that time, Nick, like,
and now you're married.
I'm not sure that this is what I want to do. That was a next step, and it seemed small, but it was huge for me.
Because saying it out loud is more real than keeping it in your head.
So your steps don't have to look like one day you're full in and tomorrow you know exactly what you're going to do next. It can be something as small as like allowing yourself to think, what if?
Yeah. And I think that what if was slowly giving control to God. Because had you never thought what if, I don't believe you would have handed. But by you saying, what if there's something else? What if I've got it wrong? And a lot of times we do get it wrong.
Yeah.
I get it wrong all the time.
I'm stubborn.
Yeah. You are.
A quality trait that can make you get things wrong sometimes.
Well, I think we all are stubborn in our own ways. Gracie and Nick are both stubborn, but in good ways.
We're strong-willed.
You're strong. They have a passion. No. But you change these plans, but then God, even through that, then he blesses you with Nick.
Yeah.
Not only does he change your career and give you this job that you love doing, he gives you a husband who is so supportive through it.
Mm-hmm.
So loving. Nick is a great guy. Check him out. Nicholas Olam Music.
Yes.
He plays the piano beautifully. Check him out. But it's just the blessings of God. And we could go on, and we don't want to bore you. And I hope you don't get bored with hearing the blessings of God. But God wants to give you blessings if you just give him control of your life and say, write my story, because I've got it all.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it wrong. And so do you have anything else you want to say before we get off? Before we sign off, is there one last thing from Gracelyn Olam?
I'll end on this. Allowing God to change your plans and write your story doesn't mean that when you reach your next passion or you reach your next mountaintop, that he's done writing your story. And that God has such huge plans for each and every one of us. I know the plans I think towards you, says the Lord. So grand. Allow God to write your story continuously and be okay with allowing him to show you how your life is going to change slowly.
Yeah.
Even I don't want anyone to view my story and think, wow, she has it all together.
No.
And she's so confident. She's so confident. She has it all together. Even now, it is a daily surrender to
daily choice.
Allow God to be the author of my story and not to take that pen into my own hand and be like, let me just make sure it's a safe plan.
Or can I skip this part?
Exactly. Let God take control and know that there will be times you won't feel like you have it all together and you will question. And that is where faith comes through. And that's where sometimes it's the most beautiful moments is in those when you have to fully rely on God.
Well, yeah. And tagging off of that, in closing here, not every decision or path is easy, but it's the peace that surpasses all understanding that comes with that. And after every mountaintop is a valley. And there's a song that I was listening to that basically the gist of the song is that flowers bloom in the valley, that they're planted. These hard moments when you're in the valley of decision and battling, and then you get to that mountaintop and you look back and there's just all these beautiful flowers that happen down there. So it might not seem easy, and there's going to be so many ups and downs in life, but by trusting the Lord and giving him control, the peace that comes with that. And so anyway, Gracie, thank you for being on the Unwritten Podcast, sharing your story. From vet to vet tech is your story, and wife. Wife. And I just visited her place, beautiful home there in West Virginia. Can't give you her address or her social security number, but beautiful home and beautiful life. And we are blessed to have you and Nick. Of course, Nick. We love Nick in our life. Thank you for listening to the Unwritten Podcast. Don't forget to check out our social medias, Unwritten Podcast, where you can find updates of what's going to be happening in the future and who is going to be our next guest on the show. And we can't wait to see you there. Make sure you comment and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Have a blessed day.